and he actually turned down the fight so much to Glenn Robinson, his manager, that he gave Glenn Robinson a heart attack and he died.
Ooh, man. I know we've talked about this before, but is this situation with Kamaru, it is very reminiscent of your situation with Woodley, right?
No, this situation is way worse. Woodley, I mean, I hate the guy. He's a piece of shit. He's a crybaby. He's a soy, low T beta male. But this thing with Marty Fake Newsman is different, because he won the American Top Team Ultimate Fighter. He beat all the guys from ATT, but it's because I was already in the UFC at the time. So I was begging to fight him after he did that and got in the UFC, but he was turning down the fight, and he actually turned down the fight so much to Glenn Robinson, his manager, that he gave Glenn Robinson a heart attack and he died.
Ooh, man.
Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, about 13 months since their first meeting. What do you think has changed, and who do you think walks away with that fight? Can Stipe get it done in the rematch, Miesha?
Stipe can definitely get it done. I don't think that it goes at all like the first time. I mean, I don't think that you can recreate that. However, I have such a hard time going against Daniel Cormier. I thought that he was going to win it the first time because of, I think that he's extremely fast at a heavyweight, and I think speed kills in a heavyweight division, a division that struggles with speed, right? They're all powerful. Daniel Cormier is just as powerful as we saw. He has knockout power. I mean, he could put anybody away, and we've already seen it happen once with Stipe, so it's not going to be a power issue. Daniel Cormier is a better wrestler in my opinion, and he's faster. So what I think happens is I think this goes into the latter rounds. I think third round, fourth round, because I think Stipe is going to have made some big adjustments. I think he's going to have to respect the power of Daniel Cormier. But Daniel Cormier, I think, is so well-rounded, so experienced, so fast, so strong, so explosive. It's really difficult for me to pick against him in this matchup, so I'm not going to. I think that Daniel Cormier is going to get it done in third or fourth round, and this may be something that we see transition to the ground this time. I don't necessarily predict a knockout. I think Stipe will be able to adjust for that. But I think if Daniel gets inside, gets a hold of him, I think anybody goes for a ride. I think Stipe will find himself on the ground. I think he may find himself in a rear naked choke. I'm even maybe going to pick the the actual finish. So we'll see.
What do you think the chances are this could be the last time that we see Daniel Cormier fight in an octagon?
I think it will be the last time.
Really? No John Jones run back?
I think it will be the last time because I feel like there's so much stuff going on with John Jones, and I feel like it's just, he said already that he wanted this to be the final time in his career. Let's see if he can get into this bout healthy. I think this very well could be the last time. I know everybody wants to see the John Jones one, but I'm not sold on it. I think there's way too many if factors. I think age is coming in. John Jones is a liability. I think all that stuff. So, I mean, for me, this is the one that I'm counting on being the legacy fight. And if we get to see more, great.
Since you're not going to be here next Wednesday, we wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of these fights. Obviously, first and foremost, let's start with the co-main event, which is very exciting for MMA fans. It marks, after a multi-year absence, the return of the one and only Nate Diaz as he squares off against a guy that he's got some history with, right? A guy that they ran into each other at a pool party. They seem to have a little bit of some bad blood. It goes back years, and that, of course, is Anthony Pettis. Nate Diaz versus Anthony Pettis in the co-main of UFC 241. What do you think, Miesha Tate?
Ooh, man, Anthony Pettis has looked good lately. His last fight with Stephen Thompson, man, he looked really good. And I thought stylistically that might pose some problems for him because Stephen Thompson's so lanky and he's long and he's a great striker and he's got good footwork. But nope, Anthony Pettis handled it beautifully. Looked like the old Anthony Pettis is like on his way back. I mean, he's making a great comeback. Diaz has been out for a long time, but it's so weird. It's like, I feel like of all people that ring rust doesn't apply to, I feel it's like people like the Diaz brothers, right?
Sure.
I just feel like it's perhaps it's more mental. Some people say it's physical. Some people say it's mental. I've never been on this long of a layoff, so I can't really say. I mean, I feel like ring rust did affect me at certain points in my career, just having longer layoffs. This is a really long layoff, but the Diaz aren't. They're different. people. They're different animals. They have this weird mental ability that it's just like they're fighters all the time, right? I mean, it's not like they fight. It's like they are fighters. So this is such a hard one for me to predict because I feel like we just don't know exactly what we're going to get with Diaz. But I'm going to say that Diaz is going to come back the same way that he always has been. And I'm going to probably go with Diaz just because I think if he comes back how he always has, I think, again, it's that hard stylistic matchup, the great boxing, the good jabbing, the good skill set, and just mentally their ability to wear people down, right? I feel like I talk about them as they are not individuals. I do apologize in that, Nate Diaz is his own individual, but when you compare the brothers, I mean, there's some undeniable similarities in their styles and ability to do the same thing to their opponents, and that's to break them down, to mentally wear them down, fatigue. But man, I almost feel guilty saying that because it's so hard to pick against Anthony right now because he looks so damn good. So, I mean, hard one to say. I don't even know. I guess gun to the head, I'm going to pick Diaz just because it's a shot in the dark.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, it's a 3-year layoff, but it feels like a lot of this is centering around, like, what are we going to find out next with Conor McGregor? I know Masvidal's been mentioned. I know there's rumors out there, but I can't help but feel like everyone is waiting, including Dana White, to figure out what's going to happen in this fight. And if Nate Diaz wins, and maybe even if he loses, that's gonna have a lot to say what happens with Conor next year.
Oh yeah, I agree, okay. And that's definitely a fight I really want to see again. So I'm hoping that does come to fruition. But I wonder if it's more likely if he wins or if he loses, because I talked about this earlier in the show. Usually it's people coming off of a loss that fighting people coming off of a loss. So I mean, then that strategy of the UFC would make more sense, fighting Conor McGregor next. But then again, it's Conor McGregor, and it's the hype train and it's the momentum. So I almost feel like it would be a better sell if Diaz is coming off of a win.